There's a storefront in St. Paul's Midway neighborhood. I think the words that are on the window are something like 1 million butts washed. Well, that gets your attention. And it's kind of a gross thing to think about. Turns out it's for a pet grooming service, so they're talking about animal butts. I don't know if that makes it better. But why am I talking about butts? Because today's 5-minute devotional, we're talking about feet. And to us, feet are not super gross. They're like kind of neutral. But back in Jesus' time, feet were gross. You walked on them in sandals and dirty roads, and they got really gross. Let me tell you, after Saturday outside, first time wearing sandals in the yard, my feet were pretty dirty, but not nearly as dirty as a first century person's in, walking on dirt roads for a whole day. Anyway, so let's get into it. John chapter 13, verses 1 through 11. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, "What I'm doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you." For he knew who was to betray him. And that was why he said, "Not all of you are clean." So remembering that feet are gross, this was a shocking thing that Jesus did to his disciples. And it's interesting how John sets it up here, writer of the gospel. And he's setting up this whole section, this whole last bit when Jesus is going to have a lot to say to his disciples before his death and resurrection. But he sets it up, Jesus knowing that his time had come, that he was going to leave the world, but that he came from God. Sort of setting it up in this cosmic sense, knowing all of this amazing stuff about who he is and who God is. Then he does this thing of complete humility. Something reserved for the lowest of servants. Worse than washing butts. So, what's up with this? And we kind of understand Peter's response, right? I mean, Jesus, the person that he'd been following and respecting, probably more than anybody else in the world, wanted to wash his feet? Too much. But we can look back on this and say, okay, fine. We've done foot washings, maybe at church, maybe at a mission trip, something like that. It's not that bad, whatever. But what does it mean in life? Let me ask, are there any parts of your life, of yourself, that you feel like are too dirty for Jesus to touch? Like, don't go there, Jesus. I don't want you to touch that part of my life. Maybe. If there are, or if there ever come to be, let Jesus make you clean, even in that area. All of you every part, every aspect of you in your life, Jesus wants to be able to make clean. Even if you feel like, no, I don't want to let God into that area. And there's another way to take this too. Feet just got dirty, like out of daily life. And it didn't mean, like he said to Peter, it didn't mean that you weren't clean at all. It's just you needed to wash your feet. And, Jesus' death and resurrection for us, if you're a follower of Jesus and you claim him as your own, like, you're clean. There's no, losing that by just accidentally getting dirty again. But you know what? As we go through life, as we go through our days, sometimes it's like, oh, man, I just got a little dirty again. Jesus, I need you to wash my feet. I need to be clean again. Not that I'm not, but, feet get dirty. Life happens. And that's okay. So let Jesus into those areas. And he wants to make you completely clean.